Welcome everybody to the channel. In this episode, we'll be taking a little break from building machines and stuff like that, and we're gonna go ahead with one of those upgrades that I've been talking about, and it's my favorite laptop. And I say my favorite because not only because I own it for over 10 years, but it only cost me $75 when I bought it on eBay a long time ago. And it's been overdue for a makeover. Yes, it's not the greatest, fastest gaming laptop that you've ever seen. No, it's more of a workstation. It only had like 1 gig of memory when I first bought it. I think upgraded to 2 gigs. Imagine it's a laptop from 2007, I believe it is, but it has a big display. It has a full-size keyboard. It has a tons of other stuff in it that I think is still usable, and it would be a shame if I just discard it without giving it a proper try. See if I can actually bring it back to life and still use it. Now, mind you, I won't be able to play games or nothing like that, but it's still usable as a workstation. I see what it's meant to be. There are some things, obviously, depending how this upgrade will go. There's some other things I won't be able to do with the laptop, obviously. But even if it is just simply be able to monitor streams and stuff like that, or even as a displaying the weather or what have you, it's still usable because obviously the screen size. I've seen newer laptops with a much smaller screen that just don't. For multitasking, nah, it's just not doable. It's not there. Another thing that this laptop can be used for is in certain environments, of course. Yes, the laptop itself might be slow, but let's say, for example, if you are remoting or utilizing external resources, and the only thing you need is something to display it. Yeah, this is perfect. So if you have a virtual environment and stuff like that you need to just simply have a way to connect to and manage it or use resources from, yeah, definitely this will 100% work. And the fact that it has a 17-inch screen and it only cost me $75, yeah, I'm definitely gonna put it to use. Now, so what I have in mind, I haven't completely opened the laptop to examine to see if there's one of the boards that you can actually swap the CPU on it. I seriously doubt it. But let's see if upgrading the memory and the hard drive for an SSD. Let's see if that actually perks it up a little bit. So what I have right now is obviously we've seen this guy from previous videos. It's a slow SSD. Things like 200 read and 300 write, something like that. It's slow. It's only 120 gigs of memory, or hard drive space. But I also have this guy over here with 520 read and 430 write, unless I got it the other way around. Yeah, 520 megabytes read and 430 megabytes write. So definitely this one here is at least twice as fast as this other one. So right off the bat, this would definitely give me a little bit of a little of an edge as far as writing and reading. Of course, it will all depend on the bus speed of the SATA on this laptop. That will become one of the bottlenecks, obviously, but uh, but much faster than what he has currently. So right there, it should be a plus. I also have memory. Hold on a second. Let's just got it in the other day. Go ahead and put this right here. And oh, package within a package. All right, great. So instead of just adding a just to add the extra memory that I need, I'm gonna go ahead and replace both. And I believe these were 5300 megahertz, and yeah, I ordered a little bit ago and kind of sort of forgot. Now, since it is an experiment, this is not like brand brand name memory. This is the first time I actually used these, so I'm not quite sure how they'll perform in the long run. So we'll see about that. But definitely, this will give the laptop an opportunity to come back to life. Hopefully, the operation will go well, and we don't lose the patient in the on the way. So we'll hopefully the operation will go away. Hopefully, the operation will go well, and we don't lose the patient on the process. So we'll see about that. So now let's see what we have here. So I do have this is the laptop, and it's currently it's a HP compact NW9440. It's only a 2.2 gigahertz processor. It's an Intel 2 Duo. So we're not talking about like a an old Pentium laptop or nothing like that. And of course, we're not talking about anything like not even an i3 or an i5 or nothing like that. Yeah, I understand that. But the whole purpose is, let's see if we can give it another chance. There's still something that we can do with this laptop. So okay, another thing that we cannot do. I checked the HP website, and apparently there are no drivers listed. A lot of times, even though they fall off support a gazillion years ago, you will still be able to download the drivers and all that. So that's the only challenge that I will have when recovering the laptop. And of course, I'm gonna have to do a full operating system install. So we'll see about that. Currently has only 2 gigs of memory. Level 1 and level 2 cache, 64K for level 1, and at least it has 4 megs on level 2. So not bad-ish for its time. It also has an NVIDIA card in it, only 256 megs, but it again, it's not a gaming machine, but the intent for it was back in at that time is that it was a laptop that will outperform anything that was in the market at the time, and it had a whole bunch of bells and whistles, and we'll go through it in a few minutes. But this was in an enterprise environment. This was the laptop that an administrator will have to manage its environment, and it will outperform anything else that was out there. And its sole purpose was mainly driven for managing environments, and or any applications that would need graphical computation, like a CAD program and stuff like that. So it was a workhorse for somebody that actually needed it. And again, for its time, you'll probably pay a pretty penny for this kind of laptop in comparison to an everyday user in any environment, I suppose. Of course, obviously, that list doesn't include gaming, obviously. Although this machine will be able to play some of the games at the time as well. So nowadays, it's pretty much non-existent. Besides the monitor size, but that line has completely been blown away. You can get any machine out there that will perform really well, to do almost any task besides graphical computation, which now falls under a gaming laptop. So back in the day, it was very compartmentalized, where you had a regular user laptop, a enterprise working laptop, and a gaming laptop. Nowadays, it's just two-ish, and that line is kind of like almost blurred on its own. But yeah, so I'm very happy with the laptop, with the stuff that I was able to use it for. Obviously, I'm not gonna be playing any games anytime soon, but yeah. So we'll see what we can do with it. Now let's look at the stats of the laptop. Like I said, this is an HP Compact NW9440. It's a workstation, as they labeling it. It came with different variations, and you're gonna see later on, further down on the document. Yes, it came with Windows Vista Business. It has a whole bunch of stuff, and it doesn't have a built-in webcam. But I mean, back then, that wasn't a thing. You didn't have a lot of laptops with built-in cameras back then. It does have a microphone, obviously. It has a mouse pad with buttons. It also has a fingerprint reader, and it also has the point stick that sits in the middle of the keyboard. Let's see. It has wireless. It has Bluetooth. Obviously, the wireless and the Bluetooth hardware requirements or encryption type is on the old side, but the same thing with the TPM. It does have TPM, but 1.2. So that kind of also has fallen off. So for its time, this laptop was, imagine, 2007, I believe the document says. So for its time, yeah, it was a pretty good laptop. it actually came with DVD rewritable on it, and that right there on its own, it was very, and it still is very usable. Another reason to keep the laptop. The network card is a gig, so again, it is not a sleeper on the network. Just don't try to play a game on it. Okay, so let's see what else worth mentioning here. It also has a multifunction card reader in front of it. Again, an awesome piece of hardware to have. Nowadays, obviously, either if you have a camera, you take a lot of pictures, a lot of stuff is just is cloud connected and all that stuff. But if you're still using memory cards, this guy here has a multifunction memory card. It can accept many different form factors, and we'll see the type of form factors that it can accept. Let's see what else we have here. Touchpad pointed. Obviously, power button. You need that, obviously. And one other thing is that you can actually control your wireless communication via a physical button on the laptop itself. So no more going through the menu and trying to disable the. No, you have a button there that you can actually disable any of those communications. Again, a pretty good safety feature: fingerprint, TPM, and a wireless communication on and off button, physical button on it. So yeah, an awesome computer. So let's see what else. Oh, and an ambient light sensor, so that way it will auto adjust your screen. Flipping over to the next page, looking at the left hand side, you have, the only thing it doesn't really have is a high an HD video output, although VGA does support high graphical output, and S video, which is long gone, obviously. The same thing with the FireWire, which is the IEEE. That's a protocol. 9394A. I'm sorry, 1394A. That's FireWire. That's long gone. That was their version of our USB-C back in the day. So, well, of course, in comparison, most of your USB versions that we have nowadays is plenty fast. But when the laptop came out, the FireWire was supposed to be a leap of 2 and 3 times faster as the regular USB speeds back in 2007, or I would say prior, because not because it came out in 2007 it means that technology or the thinking or the requirements and the needs started in 2007. That requirement could have probably come prior to that. As you can see, XP, after Windows 95, pretty much everything changed after that, after the next versions forward. So, also, one thing I'm gonna point out is that it has plenty of USBs. It has 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. Let's see, that's number 9. Yeah, so it has a total of 4 USBs which is not bad. I've seen some laptops with just like two, or in some cases just one. So again, back in the day, this laptop, rock. Another safety feature that this has is that not only you can use a PC slot to mount a PC card in it, and that is depicted on what's number 2. Well, actually, it's more like number 1 over here. Back in the day, of course, you can slide in a network card or a modem, which actually this one also has a modem, a 56K modem. Wow. Back in the day, that was the thing. So, but you didn't have to, because the network card was built in, and the modem was also built in. So the PC card actually, that interface actually acted as an extra thing. In this particular model, they actually have a smart card reader installed in it, which is also, again, the security part. So you can possibly still use that nowadays to validate credentials, depending what you use for validating credentials and two-factor authentication and stuff like that, having a smart card. So yeah, again, it has plenty of features that we can still use nowadays in a laptop. And of course, it weighs, I'm not gonna say a ton, but it's heavy. It's not a butterfly, that's for sure. It's more like a bumblebee. Not quite sure how they weigh, but yeah, it's a bit heavy. But nonetheless, I like the convenience that I have a big screen and a full-size keyboard with a meaning you have your keyboard and a number pad on the side. So hence a full-size keyboard. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Then it starts talking about the processor types, the capacity for memory, and this indication here, they can support up to 4 gigs. That means that it has a 64-bit processor in it, even though in BIOS doesn't indicate that is 64-bit. And when I was reading the menu, when I was reading the stats here, apparently this was a selectable choice. So whoever purchased this at the beginning of its lifetime had a choice of 32 or 64, or perhaps you had a choice to order either one. Whatever the case might have been back then, you had a choice, and obviously depending on the operating system, etc., etc. The sad part is that that you couldn't revert that, because the instruction sets were deleted from BIOS, which was terrible. That is terrible. Obviously, that choice was only for the Intel Core 2 Duo, which fortunately we do have. But to be honest, I have never tried it with a 64-bit. And I don't know if tried with a 64-bit operating system. So not trying it with a 64-bit operating system, I've never taken the advantage of that. The only thing that worries me is that where they actually install a 32-bit operating system way at the beginning, and hence I don't have the ability to revert that. I do not know. We'll definitely find out, and I can see right now that I'm gonna have to make a 2-part video where first we're gonna tear down and install our hardware, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit of searching to see if I can reflash the BIOS with a 64-bit version of it. Granted, if it's not already, but I don't see no indication in the BIOS currently that indicates that it is a 64-bit. So this is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. I like it. All right, so let's see what else we have here. Yes, PCIe, I'm pretty sure is an older version. Not quite sure it's going to be a whole lot fast. It says it's only 120 gig hard drive capacity for its maximum, and this is why I'm keeping this slow 120 SSD, just in case if my newer 256 gig SSD it's not recognized. So we'll see about that. I already told you about the wireless LAN. It is an 802.11. It's not one of the fastest speeds that we have nowadays. So, but it's still workable. The great thing is I do have a gigabit network card installed in it. Now, there are two different flavors or two different capacities on that NVIDIA card, and one of the flavors was 256 megs of memory or 512. Now, this is not even close to anything nowadays, obviously, but for back then in a laptop, that was not bad compared to just like a 2 meg card, which we probably would have back then, and it most likely was probably shared memory, meaning that if you had only 512 megs of memory on the laptop, 2 megs will be taken out of that for video processing, whereas this here, it seems like that it is separate in this case. Otherwise, I would have said, yep, exactly. Otherwise, I would have said share. But in this case, it says dedicated. So that's a huge plus. Okay, let's see. Yeah. 7 pounds. 7 pounds. Yeah. So yeah, it's a workout. It's a workout. And of course, you have comparabilities with Linux, which I currently have in it. Yes, I had Vista and I had XP in it and all that stuff. So yes, it does work perfectly. Okay, let's see. Yeah, processors and memory speed from 533 to 667 megahertz, and only up to DDR2 memory. So that's all that it can handle. The processor speeds, okay, that's probably going to be on later on the different descriptions for the different flavors that it came with. And the card reader is a 7-in-1. Again, plenty of choices there. Anything else from here? Various certifications for what the laptop can run, again because of the various capabilities that it had or that it has. Okay, I did say about the various security features that it currently has. Now again, standard has moved on from that, and unfortunately, since it is hardware encoded, they cannot be upgraded. So no, I won't be able to install Windows 11 if I cannot bypass the security, the TPM security feature requirement. And there I believe there are ways how to bypass that. The other thing is it's compatible with the CPU. So those instructions with my CPU will recognize it. So I'm gonna have to look at the compatibility list. And yes, there is a compatibility list for Windows 11 and the particular CPUs that you have. And I'm probably gonna guess that's a no. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. CPUs. So these are the various CPU versions that the laptop or these laptops came with. And right now we have is Intel Core Duo. It will be this one. Yes, it will be this one here. So it looks like we almost were in the top 3. Not bad. But again, the difference is not night and day. It's a hairline difference in processing capabilities. Now, if you're talking about like the first 3 versus the bottom 4, yes, there's going to be major differences, especially with the cache being half the size. Okay, so let's see what else do we have here. Again, the operating systems that I'm able to install. Let's see. Again, the graphics card and the two differences. Now we are up to, is it DirectX 10, 10 or 11. So yes, and this here depicts what the standard was as far as graphics is concerned back in the day, and the chipset, obviously nothing to brag about, but again, back in the day, yes, this was a workhorse. Display is 17-inch. VGA, it does have high resolution and up to 100 hertz refresh rate. So not bad. This here indicates that it can output to DVI, but I guess via a dongle or something like that. Okay, docking station. Okay, so via docking station, you will have your DVI outputs, and I have not come up across a docking station for this laptop. Anyway, so let's move on. Yes, the Soden, the memory speeds, and I believe the one, I think this one that I ordered, I think it was this one. I don't recall, but I know that what I have here is two 2 gig chips and network card and other communication system 56K, which was the hottest thing back in the day. Okay, let's see what else we have. We're gonna go through this fairly quick. Yeah, again the encryption types might be still a little bit behind, but it does support new-ish encryption types. Expansion slots, the expansion slots on the side, again, which is right now housing a PC card reader, a smart card reader. Let's see what else. Yeah, the memory card reader, storage, and again, it is the max is 120 gigs, which is still not bad. Still not, no, yeah. It for limited use, yes, it's not that bad, but it's not something that you're gonna be using to store a lot of data, but still usable, still very usable. Again, it is a light scribe, which means that you can actually write on compatible disks that has that writable layer on top, and this one will be able to actually write or design whatever patterns you create on the software, or just simply the title and stuff like that. So it is a DVD rewritable with both formats. I remember back in the day there were 2 formats, the plus and minus, and so this one still recognized that from all the way back in the day. One of the really important thing is that it can recognize dual layer. Very important. So again, this laptop is very, very usable. Let's see what else we have here. The interfaces, and how many of them, yada yada. USB version 2. So again, some of these protocols are still very well alive nowadays, except the FireWire one. That doesn't mean that if you don't have FireWire that you're gonna need to know, but doesn't mean that if you do have FireWire devices, like that camcorder that you bought a long time ago for extremely a lot of money, that doesn't mean you cannot use it. Yeah, it is there. If the operating system still reads it, yeah, 100% you can use it. Okay, let's see what else. Yeah, the audio, regular stereo audio, 16-bit. Again, it's not bad. No, it's not high definition audio, but it's still plenty of audio. And again, the different quote-unquote certifications and operating systems that it can run, and certifications for other applications. And it's not like it requires a certification to run this application. It's just more like saying, Yeah, our laptop can actually run these high-end programs that that you need a that you need to run in your environment for whatever it is. Instead of having a bulky PC, bulky back in the day, and expensive, our laptop can actually do it. Come buy our laptops. So that's what he's saying. It's not that you require a certification for this particular software. So, and the GIS is still being used nowadays. You know, CAD again, all that stuff still being used, but any laptop can run it nowadays. So, okay, and obviously it's not just for looking at it, but actually creating and working on the software in a production environment, not just as a regular user. That's pretty much their pitch in here. Let's see what else. The other applications there that probably came with the CD recovery features and stuff like that. A lot of it is embedded in the operating system installation, but I guess they had their own utilities. The TPM battery, obviously this battery needs to be replaced. It doesn't last that long. So yeah, it says here up to 3 hours, but yeah, no, maybe 30 minutes or something like that. So yeah, it's tired. Time to change. But what we'll do is we'll do this upgrade on it, and the next step, yes, it will, you know, I'll get a battery for it. So this section here starts showing the different flavors of that version. So let's go in. So in the way that that in my case, the way I know which was mine was by looking at the model number, and so this one's not it. This document is only for the NW9440. So by looking at the model number down here, I was able to narrow out which one was mine. And obviously I know that there's an Intel 2 Duo, so right off the top I discarded anything else that wasn't a 2 Duo. So I was able to start narrowing down which one was mine. And RB, mine is an RB. Okay, here's RB 552 UA. Yeah, okay, here it is. This is the one that we're gonna be working on. Intel 2 Duo 2.16, which when you randomize is, you know, it's a 2.2. 667 megahertz. Then you have your cache, the default operating system that it came with, and it only came with okay, so 2 gigs DDR2. Okay. I do hope I ordered the 667. Geesh. Okay, well, we're gonna find out. Man, I hope I didn't order the wrong one. Okay. It came with 100 gig hard drive, SATA. So it wasn't an ID drive. It was pretty much the next generation from that point, which was a SATA SATA connector, SATA protocol. So yeah, so let's see. And here is the memory card that and here you have the description of how much memory this particular laptop came with on the video card. The So then I was like, oh man, I can't believe I got the 256. But then I started looking at the other model. Let's see, this one here, and I'm like, I wish I could be the 212. But then I looked at the resolution, and this one has a lesser resolution than this one. Same size. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll take it. I'm not gonna be running any games on it anyway, but the resolution on it is much higher. So yeah, I'll take it. Everything else obviously is as we described in the intro of the document. So yeah, I'm being the age of the laptop, how much I pay for it, and the stats. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm convinced. I think I should give it a good try, and bring it back to life. So yeah. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and set up our workbench, and let's start taking this laptop apart. And let's see what we find, and let's see if our experiment will go well. So wish me luck. So let's go ahead and head up to the workbench and start working on it. All right. Let's go ahead and head to our workbench and start working on it. Can't wait. So as you can see, I have laptop completely open, well, not completely, but partially open. I replaced the memory card and the hard drive on the bottom side, which is very easy. The keyboard had 4 screws that I need to remove from the bottom and then find a small little gap that I can pry the keyboard open. So I was able to do that, and as you can see in the picture, let me bring up the other camera, and rather let's go ahead and get that closer. Okay, so um, so what I have exposed here is the fan right below it to the going towards the front, and that will be on the right hand side of the fan. Um, what it seems like a socket, like a CPU socket, and of course, and a CPU on top of it. Then right directly in front of it is a memory card that the machine came with, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace that with a new one. Unfortunately, mistakes were made. Um, Apparently, I ordered the 533 megahertz speed memory, whereas I needed a 667 megahertz. So not quite sure how that's gonna turn out, but we're gonna find out. And if not, I'll go ahead and order the 667 megahertz, um, which of course it pairs up with the Core 2 Duo um, CPU that is in there. Now, um, further up past the the memory card, there is another CPU which is um, which is sitting on a another card that is um, that is installed in a socket. So that I'm not quite sure what that could be, because remember we have at least 2 different processors, which is obviously the main processor, the video card processor. There is a chance that the card on top of the screen, uh, there's a chance that that is the video card itself. Now there is another processor which is right in front uh, of the memory card, um, to the left, and that one is soldered onto the board. So, and of course, it is also covered by the heat sink. So you have a heat sink that's going towards the bottom, or where that processor is, which is in a socket, which means it's removable. Then the other heat sink goes across a processor that is installed on the motherboard, and then it keeps going towards that other card, which I suspect is the video card. Um, Now, would I get much of improvement if I swap that video card for the one that has more memory on it? You know, again, it's all depending what I want to do with the machine. So not quite sure which way to go. The same way with the processor. Uh, the processor, the next level up, and let's go ahead and bring the web page here. So let's see. So this is my model, and and all that it came with it. And as you can see, the memory it came with a 667, uh, and pretty much all the Core 2 Duo they run at 667. The good thing is it's really easy to replace. If I, when I'm gonna go replace the memory card, because unfortunately, I ordered the wrong one. So, let's see, set here. But the CPU, if I'm not mistaken, um, it was not too far off. But I'm looking at all the Core 2 Duo processors. So 2.2 gigahertz roundabouts, 2.2, 2.2, 2 gigahertz. Again, there's not much difference. The key thing between the 2 Duo and the just simply the Intel Core Duo is the cache, and of course the bus speed, which and of course yes, and the memory speed. That's one of the key things. Other than that, I think speed wise, I think I'm okay. But let's go back up to the chart up here, because if we recall here, so it seems like I could go up to it essentially 2.4. Again, it's not a lot of difference. Um, and I mean, it's actually looking at it, it will be a tremendous undertaking because I will have to actually remove, pretty much tear down the laptop to the bone because the heatsink is under the top cover of the laptop. So the only way to actually replace that is by removing the screen, removing the top vessel of the cover of the laptop, the top lid, and unscrew the heatsink, and then get into replacing the CPU, and obviously a tons of screws. So I don't think that going from a 2.2 to a 2.4 is worth it. I don't think it is. I'm in within range, so I think I'll be just fine. Uh, the 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 only way I would do it is if I discover that this CPU is a 32-bit and not a 64. But then again, it's not even defined here. It's defined at the BIOS. This initial boot. That's they're talking about BIOS. Um, so that's something that we'll be finding out when I continue with the upgrade and boot it up for the first time. See if it recognizes the the memory and how much. Uh, other than that, there's no reason for me to swap that CPU. It's just it's not worth it. Now, if that motherboard will hold something like a 4 gigahertz, something like that, a double, yeah, at that point, yes, it will be definitely worth it. I'll continue doing my research and see what I find in the internet. But as it is good news slash bad news. If something happens to that processor, I'll be able to replace it. Yeah, it will be a pain, but uh, and presume the parts will be very inexpensive, being the laptop is quite old. So I'll continue with the build. Let's see what happens with with the memory not being the right speed. It's That's what happens when the internet is, it hides stuff. Pretty much, I found this documentation. Believe it or not, found this documentation after I ordered the memory. I did a lot of research as much as I could. Somebody on Reddit said, "Yep, 53 is what is what you need." The 67. Um, there were some issues that this person was talking about. The, you have more better chance to have the 53 and all that good stuff. And there were several websites where you type in the memory kit for this laptop. That's what it came with. At least that's what the search was coming up, saying that that's the memory that it came with. Then later on, I found this information with all the details, and I'm not quite sure how I missed finding this here. But I'll go ahead and replace that memory card, and and let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and put it back up with the new memory, and see what we get. Obviously, right now there's no operating system, so let's just let it do its thing. Okay, so we recognize the 4 gigs, so we're gonna go ahead and save that and save those changes. It's gonna try to boot the operating system, but obviously there's no operating system. But we're gonna go ahead and let it go through the motion. Yes, that is expected. Now, when I'll be doing the, the installation, I'll be able to capture everything. Um, so pretty much right now we're just doing a really dry run. So let's go ahead and reboot and go into files. So as you can see, the laptop did recognize the 4 gigs that we installed. Obviously, mistakes were made. I ordered the ROM speed, or at least the speed the maximum speed that it could support. Uh, the range was from 533 to 667. Unfortunately, I ordered the slower one, but the speed that the memory that came out of it, it was the 533 megahertz speed. So at least I went with the safest choice and it was pretty much through the research that I did in Reddit and other places. There was a lot of people that were like, yeah, the 533 is more compatible, or they had some issues with the voltage and all that stuff. So I went ahead with what the majority of people were saying. Then later on, of course, I found this document. Not sure how I missed it with all the searches that I did. So it comes to find out I could install a 6.7, uh, but what I'll do is I'll order it anyway. It's very inexpensive, and let's see what happens. I mean, we want to squeeze as much juice as we can out of the laptop, especially if we can do it, and especially if I'm not going to be switching out the CPU. I'm not going to be switching out the memory card. Monetarily, is it's not an issue, but time wise, it would be expensive um, in comparison. So, and not only that, but the thing is that the what I'm gonna get out of it, it will be very minimal. And the other thing is that even if I'm, I'm bored, I have nothing to do on Earth except upgrade this and tear it down, the benefit that I'm gonna get out of it is, uh, yeah, it's just not valuable. So definitely, I'm not gonna be upgrading the memory, the CPU or the video card on it. Uh, I will probably seek out for the faster memory and probably replace that. The one thing that I will definitely need to do, and obviously the culmination of the update, is installing the operating system. Uh, let's see if the 64-bit will work, and and if not, then I have to go back to the drawing board and see how I can get that 64 capability back into the laptop by flashing the BIOS with a uh, with a version that's going to give me that capability. So that will be the next step to do. Definitely, it will be obviously a different video, but I can't wait. It will be nice to get this laptop back in operation uh, to its best of its ability. But I will definitely put it to work. That's for sure. So until then, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.